Hello, this is Dr. Brandy Maynard from giftedresources.com. Today we're going to be talking about word clouds in education, especially how it relates to our gifted and talented learners. I'm so excited that you could join me today, and I'm looking forward to this training time together. Let's get started. Do you wish your students' thinking was visible? Would you like to share student thinking visibly? In other words, would you like to collect their ideas quickly and share a visual representation of those ideas? What if the most common ideas were the largest ideas represented? You can do that with a variety of word clouds today. I'm going to show you how. Word clouds take me back to junior high. I don't know about you, but we used to write a variety of words all over our peachy folders in a variety of different ways. At the time, there was really no value to it other than practicing creativity. Teachers can harness this visual creativity and make it work in the different content areas. Let's take a look at what this might look like. Here's an example of a Wordle. Here's Wordle and Answer Garden, two types of word clouds. Wordle can be found at wordle.net, and Answer Garden, a more collective word tool, can be found at answergarden.ch. I've created a simple way that you can follow different types of Wordles that we're going to be looking at today. We've represented a variety of different subject areas, and you'll notice that common ideas in Wordles are larger. The applications are totally free, and it's an excellent way to use a model in gifted education with our gifted students. One game I like to play is the answer is blank, what is the question? Today, the answer is 8, what is the question? Let's take a look at what this would look like in Wordle.net. I've landed on the Wordle homepage, and I simply press Create Your Own Wordle. From there, I would paste in a bunch of text. I would put my cursor here and press Control-V, the text that I've gathered from my students. The question is 8, what is the answer? These are the answers that my students shared. You may notice which student in my class was the gifted one. Now once I have this data typed in, I merely press Go, and a Wordle will be created. Here's one way that my Wordle might look. In the bottom of the page, there's a button called Randomize. I can press that Randomize and get all sorts of different looks for my Wordle. Here's one look with a specific font, mostly horizontal and black and white. Here's another look with a little bit more color and a larger font. And finally, one more that's black and white, little tiny bit of color, and an easy on the eye font. We can also use Wordle to improve the gifted student's writing. For instance, how many different ways can you say it? In this case, how many different ways can we use the word said? Let's take a look inside of Wordle. I would simply copy all of the different ways that I can use the word said and paste it inside of the box. I can also have my students create all the different ways that they can use the word said and type them into this box. And then I just press Go. Once I press Go, the Wordle is created. I can also press the Randomize button at the bottom to get a different look for my Wordle. I'd like to show you how to use the different buttons within Wordle. If you'd like to change the font, you can go up to Font and choose a font that's maybe a little bit easier on the eyes. And then the Wordle will come up as soon as it's ready. This one's a little bit difficult, so I'm going to go ahead and choose another one. And this one's a little bit easier for me to see. Then I'm going to go to Layout, and I'm going to say that I want it horizontal. And most of my words will come in horizontal. I can also do half and half. Half of my words will be horizontal, half will be vertical. And of course, I can always do vertical as well. I always, or almost always, choose mostly horizontal. It's just easier for me to read. Then I can go over to Color If I want to print it, I might do it in black and white, or if I want to put it on a website, I might do it in color. I would suggest that you allow students to print these and put them in their writing notebooks, and then they can refer to them anytime they need alternatives to the word said. You can do this alternatives to the word good, alternatives to the word bad, alternatives to any type of word that they use commonly within their writing. You'll see their writing improve. I'd like to share with you how I might use Wordle in spelling for discovering the different spelling words. What I would do is I would first print, 13 to 15 spelling words that my students can explore. And then I would create a Wordle with just the words, allowing them to figure out which spelling rule that word falls under. Let's take a look at what this might look like within Wordle. Here we go. I like the color and the layout on this. The rule is I before E except after C. You'll notice this group of words all is reflective of that rule. I would have my students take a look at all the rules and guess which rule all of these words fall underneath. You can also use it in spelling when a student is writing within their writing. You can circle the words that they've misspelled, and then you can create a list of those words. You can have them type those words into Wordle, and they will then have a list of commonly misspelled words within their writing that they will have the correct spelling for. Wordles can also be used to evaluate an event in history. In this case, I used SurveyMonkey, and I asked my students, what was the most significant event in your lifetime? They typed in their answers. I could take those answers and put them in Wordle. This is what that might look like. And here's my Wordle. Remember, the words that are the largest are the words that were most impactful in the lives of my students. I'd like to end today with Brandy's best practices. Wordles are highly effective for visual learners. They'll also work with your auditory learners if the students are encouraged to share their Wordles out loud. Creating the Wordle is at the top of Bloom's revised taxonomy. Creating. A higher order thinking skill. Remember, with gifted students, we have the traditional revised Bloom's taxonomy that's in the shape of a triangle. We flip that triangle upside down, and the largest part of the triangle falls in the creating area, and the smallest, the tip of the triangle, falls in the remembering area. With gifted students, we want to make sure that most of our time is spent in the higher order thinking skills. Students can create Wordles on a variety of topics and have students compare and contrast these topics with one another. For instance, you could have a Wordle on Mother Teresa and another Wordle on Princess Diana. You can have students create those Wordles and then muddle around the classroom and share with one another the commonalities between the two and the differences. Wordles are great for analyzing character traits of famous people, characters in books, and yes, even their classmates. Students can look at topics through the lens of their preferred intelligence. For instance, they can look at the topic of a Wordle from the music smart sense, maybe from the personal sense, the interpersonal or intrapersonal sense, through the music sense, and even through the math sense. Wordles can be an excellent way to dig deeper into emotions, and I'm going to share that when we get a little bit farther along with some extension activities. Let's look first, though, at how you can use Wordles to demonstrate perfectionism. These are all people who've been successful in life, but first faced failure. You'll notice here that it says failure leads to success. And then we have the names of different people who've had failures in their life, from Abraham Lincoln and Colonel Sanders to Thomas Edison, Michael Jordan, and yes, even Bill Gates. It shows here how these people failed. But we know that eventually they succeeded. So creating a poster like this of people who failed but then became heroes might be very positive to students when they're feeling like they just can't get it right. And it also reinforces that feeling that failure leads to success. Maybe as a parent, being a Jiminy Cricket voice on their shoulder and talking them through these issues. Bringing them over to this printout and saying, you know what, honey? Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard and look what he accomplished. That might not be the best example, but it is one example. You can also talk about Thomas Edison having 1,000 unsuccessful tries at creating filament for that light bulb. But eventually he was able to do it. That's what we need to teach students. We need to teach them that life is not always easy. And the case with gifted students is oftentimes life is easy. And it's easier to teach them this lesson when they're 7, 8, 9, 10 than when they're 21 and 22 and they've failed miserably at something that really matters. You can teach them by perhaps teaching them how to juggle. That's something that doesn't come easily. And then being that Jiminy Cricket voice on their shoulder, that when they drop the balls, how you would think aloud and process that so it's not the end of the world. Giving them those skills that they can process failure and know that eventually it turns into success is one of the best things that you can do for your gifted and talented children. And finally, how can you help your oversensitive children put situations into perspective? Now, this is a tricky one because oftentimes we have kiddos that the weight of the world is on their shoulders and they're very sensitive to every issue that comes up. Whether it is something that happens in the world or in their family or in the classroom or in the home, on the bus, it could be anywhere. It could be a friendship situation. And really, as parents, we need to help them put these situations into perspectives. Teachers can do this as well. What you can do is you can create a Wordle along with your student outlining different things that happen in life and how important and significant these things are. For instance, war. Within the Wordle, you might write war 10 times. It might be very large on the Wordle. The death of a parent might be very large on the Wordle. The death of a pet might be a bit smaller. A friend moving away would be even smaller. Flunking an English test would be even smaller than that. You can create all sorts of different options that students can look at and how they relate to one another. The biggest options are the ones that have the most significance, negative significance, and the smaller ones are ones that, yeah, they can be difficult, but we can brush them off. And then have the child come to you with the issue that they're sensitive about. Maybe it is a fight with a friend on the bus, and then they can look at it in comparison to that Wordle and realize it's really not as significant as some things in their life could be. It really helps gifted kids to put those things into perspective. Before we go, I do want to share a couple other options with you. Tuxedo.com is another word cloud application. This one allows you to put word clouds into a variety of shapes, like apples and stars, and yes, even Abraham Lincoln's face. AnswerGarden.ch is an excellent one for teachers. This allows you to create a word cloud collaboratively with your class. Your students can put information in, they can submit their answers. It all goes onto one word cloud application. At the bottom you press export and you can export it into Wordle. The most common answers will be the largest answers. This is often a workaround when it's difficult and you want all of your students to be inputting information, but you don't want to be the one that types it all in. Try AnswerGarden.ch. And last but not least, if you're looking for other word cloud applications, go ahead and try out Google and just put in the word word clouds. Those words will help you to find information about word clouds that you will find to be valuable as a teacher and as a parent. Today, please join our Facebook fan page by searching for Gifted Resources on Facebook. We provide the most up-to-date information in educating the 21st century gifted learner. You can also join the conversation at giftedresources.com. Please sign up there for our weekly newsletter. Each week we highlight more technology, tips, and tricks you can use with your 21st century gifted learner. Please sign up today. And finally, I want to leave you with this. Remember, best practices in gifted education benefit all students. Please, please use these strategies for all the students that you're working with. Thank you for watching. Again, this is Dr. Brandy Maynard from giftedresources.com, and I can't wait to see you next time on our next webinar. Take care and have a great day.